Hey YouTube family and GN subs, hope you are doing well. I am here again with good news for students. We have good news for students. F-1s are being reinstated, and I just want all of you to know, my videos are not political, folks. What I do is I am taking factual good news and providing you with that information. That's all I'm doing. I'm not being political, okay? So in the comments, if you have some legal analysis you want me to provide, be happy to do so. Those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Humberto or Gray from here in sunny Southern California, and I bring good news. That's what I do, folks. And today we have great stuff for students. We got Harvard litigation updates. We have Tufts University update. This one's dedicated to students and universities. So we got a lot to get to, so let's get at it. All right, so first we have litigation that has resulted in USCIS reinstating student visas. All the set-aside 20s that were terminated, 4,700 of them, students were targeted for having small infractions like DUIs, or if they had any type of political speech. Their set-aside 20s were terminated unlawfully, and that resulted in litigation. A group of immigration attorneys went to work, they litigated, and they made USCIS reinstate student visas. We'll talk a little bit about the Administrative Procedures Act later and what that means, but in this case, we have 1.1 million students in the U.S. They contribute $44 billion to our economy. They're some of the best and brightest in the country. They pay a lot of money to be here to go to school, so it was not fair that their visas were terminated without any due process, without following any of the law. It was arbitrary. So this is really good news for students. I am happy for you and those who stayed in the U.S. and they continue to study. If you're reinstated, you're back in lawful status in the U.S. So that's good news for you. All right, let's talk a little bit about knowing your rights at the airport and the border. It's a little different than being inside the U.S., okay? Generally, you have less rights at the airport, but it's good to know a few key points. First point, if you've been in the U.S. for 2 years or more, let's say you're on an L-1 visa or in an H-1 working, etc., you cannot be expeditiously removed. Expeditiously being removed is that they can just deport you right at the airport without a hearing in front of an immigration judge, without anything. But if you've been in the U.S. for 2 years or more, they cannot expeditiously remove you. Same is true at the border. All right, number two, key. Make sure you delete all controversial social media in your cell phone and in your computer, okay? You just don't want to start an incident there. Certainly during these times, you just want to have a calm entry into the United States with no problem. You don't want to be detained for hours on end. So just make sure you don't have anything controversial on your cell phone or computer, because they can. They have the legal right to confiscate your cell phone or computer and go through it, all right? Number three, if you are a U.S. citizen, you cannot be detained. Know your rights. A lot of Hispanics that are U.S. citizens are being stopped and questioned and detained. Basically, they do have a right to go through your cell phone and your computer. So if I were you, I would be very, very courteous. Yes, officer, I'm a U.S. citizen. Anything you'd like to look at, I'm open, right? Get out of there. Don't be detained for 4 hours on end because, you know, you want to be a smart ass, okay? So definitely at the airport, make sure that you know, as a U.S. citizen, you cannot be detained. Number four, for permanent residents of the U.S. Now, when you come into the port of entry at the border or at the airport, you can be determined to have a ground of inadmissibility. For example, let's say, you know, a couple months ago, you were convicted of a crime that may have cause for them to take your green card away. However, here's what you do have a right to. You have a right to a hearing in front of an immigration judge. So you assert that right and you tell them to defer you in the U.S. and you want a hearing in front of an immigration judge for the government to prove their case against you and for you to determine if you have any rights to keep your green card in front of an immigration judge. So real important stuff, folks, all right? All right, another bit of good news. Tufts University, there was a student who wrote an ed-op, an opinion article, and she was targeted for her First Amendment right to write that article, and they have detained her and they shipped her out. She's from Vermont. They shipped her out. Well, a judge just ruled you need to bring her back to Vermont, and we're going to have the hearing in Vermont, and she can exercise her due process in Vermont. So again, judges are stepping in here, folks, and they're making sure that the law is complied with by the government. That's good stuff. All right. Harvard University, one of the first universities to file suit against the government. The government's trying to shake them up for money, folks. They're like, hey, we're going to take all of your federal grants away if you don't do what we say. And Harvard said, nope, I'm not going for it. We are filing suit. They file suit in federal court, and that is currently pending. Their argument in court is the APA, the Administrative Procedures Act. It requires the court to terminate any type of government action that is unlawful, arbitrary, and capricious. If it's not terminated correctly with a procedure, then that act is going to be considered unlawful. And that's what Harvard is going at, that the government terminating the federal funds and the grants for research, etc., because they're not doing exactly what the government wants them to do, and getting rid of DEI, etc., it's going to be considered unlawful, folks. And Harvard is fighting. Other universities are joining and jumping in and litigating, which is good stuff. That's what we need, folks. We need a robust country where we have the judiciary that is checking the executive branch. That's good stuff. Can't wait for Congress to jump in here. Hey, YouTube family and GN subs, thanks again for watching GrayLaw TV. Click below, like, and subscribe. If you are new to the channel, I have a library of content that is awesome. Lots of stuff. Go check it out. And hey, we'll see you next week.